Hello, good morning. Welcome back to PlayStation area. Today I want to tell you about Assassin's Creed Syndicate, the new chapter of the Assassin's Creed game. Let's start from the version that you're watching is played on a PlayStation 4. Let's start from the ending. I like this game, but I'm definitely like more Unity, and I'm gonna tell you why. The basic movements and feature of each Assassin's Creed game is remain the same. There are of course some improvement and some changes. For instance, the setting. Here we are in 1868 England, in London. The period is Victorian age. The height, the imperial power of England, and you can see in the blurry and foggy atmosphere that the climate is. This is the common weather of London. You can see the architecture of the buildings, the way of clothing of the people, the road and the payments, etc., etc. This is very interesting because this is Assassin's Creed is going further and further close to our time. So you can find features that are common to our time. The illuminations, for instance, even if it's gas, but the large roads, the means of transportation, and so on. There are two main characters that you can play at any time. I mean, you can switch between one and the other whenever you want. It's not just in the past that you can use some other characters just in specific times. The two characters are Evie and Jacob Fry, two brother and sister. Another feature that returned, it's the use of a means of transportation. Here you can see a carriage that I have hijacked. In Unity, you didn't have this opportunity. You could just walk on your feet. And this is very important because you can move faster. You can also transport your associates, which now I'm going to show you. You can hire people, just like in Black Flag or in the previous Assassin's Creed. This feature reminds me a lot of the movie Gangs of New York. You can build up a gang of up to 5 elements and you can order them to attack or to hold. They can attack whoever you tell them to. In this case, they attacked a policeman a constable. Then after you can loot, but it's not automatic. You need to press a button to loot, just like in Unity. Differently from the previous Assassin's Creed, the people that you hire then follow you. Whenever you go, also in the rooftops, they find a way to follow you, so you can always bring them with you whenever you need it. Then there is another important feature is the rope launcher. You can see, just like in Batman, Arkham City or Arkham Knight, and Dying Light. So basically, it gives the game a lot of dynamic because you can basically launch the rope from a building to another, move faster, and also do some interesting killings from the rope. What else? Well, you see how useful is the rope. Very, very useful. There is not only the carriage as mean of transportation. Of course, being in the Industrial Revolution, it's the train, one of the main characters of the game. In fact, your hideout is not a house, is not a villa, but it's inside a train, so it's a moving hideout. Very useful to reach faster points of the map. You see, the map is very huge. It's London, divided into big, huge area. There is always the fast track. You can move from another spot to another. There are side missions. In fact, you come to meet Charles Darwin, Karl Marx, who else? Who now I don't. Even the Queen Victoria. You in the end of the last part of the game, you meet Queen Victoria, and then she can give you some missions. Very, very interesting. This and also another feature that I forgot to mention, differently from Unity, is that there are not so much. I mean, the map is not so crowded. You can find not so many people in the road, differently from Unity, in which there were squares that were literally full of people. Just a few people on the road. I mean, the normal amount of people on the road. And that increased the stability of the game, because one of the worst feature of Unity was that I mean, thanks to the big number of non-playing characters in the game, there was a lacking of stability sometimes. That doesn't happen in Syndicate. The loading times are a little too heavy. I mean, you see how much time it takes to reload, but it's not a problem. Always the fate jump. And now you see I'm switching between the two characters, and I'm using Jacob Fry, which is the male character more prone to violence. Instead, the sister is more prone on stealth acting. One of the most interesting feature is that you see his hat. He never loses his hat, even if when he does the fate jump from buildings. He never, and he was supposed to be losing the hat. That never happens, and that is I mean, I don't know if it's a mistake or it's someone that was purposely wanted, but something at least curious. There are different types of carriage. The slower one, which is this one that you just seen, and the faster one that's small, very fast, but also not very strong. So if you damage it too much, you need to break it, literally. The game shows also a side of a social denunciation of underage work. You can see children working into these big factories. That was very common at that time, and it's one of the worst features of the Industrial Revolution. In fact, is as some side missions, you need to free these children from the labor into these factories. Sorry, I fall into one of false friend of English. There is a wise use of light and darkness in the game. I mean, being the atmosphere very gloomy, there are a lot. The colors are very unsaturated. Nevertheless, the use of lights and darkness is very, very wise. I find it very effective. You see now how useful is the use of rope, because basically you don't have to walk or jump or crumble anymore. Now I don't remember why I stopped on the option menu. Well, you can see how many gang upgrades. Basically, it's the upgrades that you can get to upgrade your gang of thugs, in the vein of Gangs of New York, like I mentioned. Like I said, the landscape is very, very wide. It's also better defined than Unity. A little better defined. I mean, although Unity showed a lot more variability in the buildings, because you remember Unity is that period of time shows ancient buildings, shows late Middle Age buildings, 1600s building, and so on. Instead, Unity shows Syndicate shows basically the same kind of buildings throughout the whole game. In that point, Unity is superior to Syndicate. You can see now this is the design of the male character, which basically doesn't show. This is the first male character that doesn't show normally. The hood, the classic hood shaped like a beak. I mean, he has the hood, but you need to press the hex button to basically let him change the clothing into a sort of stealth mode, and the sister. I mean, this is normally his clothing. When you press hex, it becomes stealthier and assassin mode like. And that's a better improvement, because I find it very. You see, he doesn't lose the hat. I found it very uncommon going closer to our age in the game and still wear those kind of old-fashioned suit with the hood. I mean, they need to blend in the population to be anonymous. So if they kept on wearing that kind of a clothing, you see, this is a carriage of your. You can recruit them whenever you want. So now one of them is part of your gang, the biggest one. And then if you move, when you recruited a gang and you move in the carriage, they can or jump onto your carriage if you allow them, or else they can hijack a carriage of their own and following you with that. Now I'm walking through the streets of London. I don't know. I don't remember what I was doing in this mission. Probably unlocking some chests. These are these little kids here. They can provide you money or hints once you have freed all the factories in which they are forced to work in. Normally your associates are dressed in a green, yellow shades of color. You see your enemy, you're gonna guess it, are in more red, and the police, of course, in blue. Well, okay, now I got stuck by a carriage. This is a glitch. I mean, the carriage, when you hit into a horse of a carriage, you remain stunned for a couple of seconds and incapacitated of movement. Well, now there is a very movie-like scene. I mean, I'm walking down the street arrogantly with my gang, and there is an enemy. So I attack them. They attack the enemy. Of course, I'm a lot more powerful than them because basically I am top level. So they don't stand a chance on me and my gangs. What else? This is a game that the followers of the franchise must get it. I mean, you have to get it. But I would be curious to know if there is some people that still prefer Unity over Syndicate for many reasons, not only game playing or setting or whatever. Personally, I am one of those that prefer Unity over Syndicate. You can also hijack a fireman carriage here, this one, which is one of the slowest but one of the strongest. Well, that's it. Basically, this is Syndicate. I don't wanna tell you anything about the plot because it would be spoiling. That is the basic thing that you can see on Syndicate. Well, I crashed on another carriage, but the horse didn't get hurt. That's the most important thing. I hope that you enjoy what you've seen, and so long.